It's one thing to be a composer, but it's another thing to become a soundtrack composer.
Yeah.
So you have to have a special education for that, or how did you start doing that?
I didn't get educated for classic music. I mean, I never was, but I did have kind of education back in Australia, yes.
Yes.
But
music,
not
right?
for classic music or for soundtrack music. Let's think of it this way. I got a story, so you're hearing it.
So how did you get your first job? I would think it's a very coveted
My first job,
composing
like
job.
film-wise, was the first organization 13 years ago.
Ah.
Yeah. And my second job,
Yeah.
So how did you get the job, though?
well,
Did-
I have been in the music industry for a long time,
Yeah.
and I've been a very, very successful guy.
Yeah.
I got like 45 million copies to my name, which is a big
Yeah.
count here.
So you were a known name in the music industry.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
well known.
Okay, so what made the bridge? Did you know someone in the film?
Well, yeah, of course.
Or did you
must-
pursue that?
The guy who did Organization, the director and the
Epic.
producer, I'm close to the family. And I worked with Yilmaz. We did 2 poetry albums with him. Then I did some background music. So yeah, he was a reason for me to go into soundtracks. And then I ended up working with Mahsun, which was a very old friend of mine that I was working with anyway in the music industry. I'd worked with him. I did about 8 albums with him. So it was very natural for him to work with me on the movie. But I didn't really have the background for doing a big classical symphony, music. I didn't
Like
have that
this.
background. Yeah, but what you're hearing. This was like a very spontaneous thing that came out in like 30 minutes.
This is my
Yeah,
favorite one.
Do you feel like you have competitors in the industry, or are there collegial relationships?
Okay, I'll answer that like this. There's a lot of people out there doing the same job, yes?
Yes.
Do I have competitors? No. The only thing I'm competing with is myself right now. Because,
That's
I mean,
right.
the stuff what you're hearing now, you will not hear anywhere.
Anywhere.
No, that's
You
right.
can't. You know why?
Yeah.
Because this is not a mixture of a guy in Turkey doing music. You're talking about a guy that's been all over the world. I have been influenced with basically anything I've heard. And I heard a lot of music, man. Like
Yes, where the-
Australia, which
yeah.
has like 80 countries, 80 different cultures
Right.
in like one little tiny
Yeah.
space. And I was brought up in this. So, I mean, like, that's why I'm not really a very local guy. What you're hearing is very international. Why?
It is,
Because
yes,
I was an
yes,
international.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's the way I was brought up. So that's what
Yeah.
you're hearing, actually.
And your influence in terms of music.
Yeah, I'll tell you the answer to that.
Beatles and Elvis.
How did you get that one?
Ha! Read it in another interview.
There is actually, there's a lot of Beatles and Elvis, yeah. There's a lot of, my brother really, he killed me on that one. As I was a little kid, he was in love with Beatles and Elvis, and like,
God.
I was just like getting this 24
Beatles
hours.
and Elvis are 2 totally different.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't hear any Elvis or Beatles in any of
But
those.
trust me, I'm a rocker inside. I am a
Yeah.
rocker
Oh,
inside. Yeah, I
Oh,
love
yeah,
rock
yeah.
music. I was brought up with like rock music and pop music. I was in the era where you'd paint your face and
Yeah.
go to
Yeah,
Kiss
yeah.
concerts, and I did all that stupid stuff too. I'd listen to Metallica. I'd go to rap concerts and shit. I'm a Peter Gabriel fan. They do those crazy concerts like for weeks.
Yeah.
I went to 2 of them personally myself. You name it, I did all of that. I mean, I was brought up as a normal guy in a normal Western world that would listen to all this stuff. But I was in a multicultural place, which had different types of music in every corner. I had a doctor from Pakistan, and he would play harmonium, and he took me to a few of their concerts. I was in love with that music when I was like 9 or 10. It was incredible to me. The counts, the type, the rhythm playing. It was just like out of this world, the way the rhythmic stuff was put together there. It was just like a shock to me to even know that there was that type of music there. But you see, I learned all this when I was a little kid. That was my biggest advantage, I'd say.
So do you play any instruments?
Well, when I was a kid, I was actually playing more instruments than I play now, actually. I used to play flute, trumpet. Well, drums were my first instrument. But to be honest, hold on. It was the xylophone first. I started off with a little glockenspiel xylophone. I was about 5. But I was playing it. It wasn't ding, ding, ding. I was really playing. I was playing music, like melodies. If it's not in you, it's not in you. You don't feed someone to create. You create or you don't. I was also musically trained, yes, but I wasn't musically trained to be a good pianist or to be a good guitarist. I always had my view as I was going to be what I am right now. I never really questioned what I will be. Because there was only 2 things in my life that I was successful at. First, I was very good at playing rugby league. I played it all my life when I was in Australia, and I loved it. I just had a problem that I was like cracking my finger bones. And that became a bit of a problem when it comes to my music. So I had to make a decision.
Hard to play the piano with broken fingers.
I had to make my decision. Either I was going to do music or I was going to be a rugby player. From there on, for me, music was the main thing of my life. No, I'm doing something that I really like doing, and they're
Yeah.
paying me for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I
They're
know.
paying me for it.